Okay. Good afternoon. I was gonna say good morning. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the February 8th Chief and Council meeting for Stubborner First Nation. My name is Chief Brent Pizano, and I'm happy to welcome you all here for our bi-monthly meetings. So, 23rd. 23rd. It's the 23rd? Oh, okay. Well, the agenda is wrong. We're just looking at things now. It's the 23rd today. I can't believe it is almost March. Wild. So I call this meeting to order at 6:02. And opening prayer. That seems to be the go-to at this point.
All right, instead of reading the opening prayer, I just want to say, Japanese Tijnika's Agigun to them, Creator, we come together as a council for this February 23rd meeting. Thankful for the health we enjoy and for the community we have. We're thankful for the office we hold, and we ask us as community leaders to lead our community in a good way. We ask comfort for those in our community that are sick, or grieving from loss of loved ones this time. And we ask you to keep us blessed with wisdom, that we will do the right thing and keep the interests of our community within our hearts, that we will go forward and
I don't have any opening remarks, but what I might want to do is open it up to you if you have any opening remarks or any remarks that you just want to share. If not, I think maybe we can start that process next time, but just opening it up if anybody would like to share anything. I don't really have much to share today. Great. Interesting.
Sorry, I thought you offered it, and then you said, we'll start that next time, and then
that's right.
I didn't put my hand up, so I don't.
Well, we can just start, Jack, I pointed to Jack, but then if you wanted to say
Oh.
something. Yeah.
Okay. No, happy to be here.
Okay, that's great. I'd like to acknowledge the passing of Teresa Moore, community member that's been, she was quite elderly. She's from the Madavi family. And condolences to the Roger Madavi and the Moore family, loss of their mother. Oh, need volume? Okay.
A little bit.
Okay. I'm not sure if, I'll repeat that again. I just want to acknowledge the loss and the passing of Teresa Moore. Her maiden name was Barabi, community member, and we extend our condolences on behalf of our council to the family. Which.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for getting here on time so we can start our meeting right away.
Trying to think of what to say here. Can't wait till our meetings are open to our community members to be able to attend in person with us here. It'll be nice to see some new faces or some familiar faces join us here, and just thankful for today.
Yeah, I like what Michelle said too. It seems so different now, and I'm so sick and tired of this COVID, so let's hope we get back to regular meetings early this year, so miigwech.
And then I just also want to acknowledge we have had another elder passing of Esther Witten Marsh. So I just want to take also that time. Community members can attend if they so choose. There's few seats. So that's, maybe we'll have to better advertise that people can attend. It's now that there's only 10 of us, no, oh my gosh, 6 of us, if we can fit a few more, but I think the rules are changing in March, so we'll look at that then. But thank you, council. So with that, the agenda is before us. Is there any changes or additions to the agenda that we need to make today? Okay, seeing none, can I get a mover to adopt the agenda? Moved by Councillor Michelle Owl, seconded by Councillor Jack Trudeau. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, it's carried. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest, what we're discussing today?
Do I have to be clear on the signing of the BCR? It was moved in December.
No, that's something later. Yep. Okay, no conflict of interest. Again, community, you're welcome to attend. You just have to please let Lily know so that we can make sure that we have seating, but also if you have any kind of community presentations, to please also let Lily know so we can add you to the agenda and ensure that you have time and your issues are heard. So with that, we're going to move along to the February 8th meeting minutes. Are there any changes or anything that we need to change here? Seeing none, can I get a member of council to please accept the meeting minutes for February 8th? By Councillor Steve Mawasagi. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Shirley McLeod. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, it's carried. We have no business arising from the previous minutes, and so we'll move on to my chief's report. So this is my report dated for February 8th to February 22nd. My fourth report, and this is an update on the last 2 weeks. Again, the focus was getting on the infrastructure information and continuing to meet with ISKs on reporting and funding, and I do believe we have a very good announcement about that later. I'm excited for that. We have scheduled a community-focused meeting with ISK, and the time is being spent working with support staff on training plans and bringing in additional HR supports. So that has been the past 2 weeks. And again, this week has been mainly focused on supporting the administration as we've gone through some staffing shortages due to isolation, death in the communities, and ongoing struggles related to COVID-19. So I just want to thank community for all of your patience. I know we had what seemed like a bunch of snowstorms and all of these things happen all at once, but I really am thankful for community for understanding, and really thankful for the staff who pitched in and really helped out and supported all of their colleagues that were off. So a big thank you to the health staff, also infrastructure, basically all the administration for your hard work over the last little bit, and of course community to you for your understanding. So my anticipated area of focus over the next 2 weeks will again be completing the bringing on of support staff, and again beginning to look for funding for some of the governance work / policy analyst and strategic advisor for council. So I'll talk about that as we go. So there are no recommendations at this time. And again, as you can see, my meetings attended, I did meet with the capital funding and the CHRT funding. So that is something that I'm really excited about. And I know that it's going to really help out the community here. So please be on the lookout, community, for some more stuff around capital funding. And also been doing some meetings with the Anishinaabe Nation around mental health as it relates to the residential schools. So there's a project that it's coming online very soon. So I'm looking for that. We had an update meeting with Darien Resources with Mississauga First Nation to actually update Chief Chiblo, and so we're going to be looking. It still has to go to community, and the consultation process and information will begin now that we're actually able to meet in person it's going to be a lot easier. And now that we have the land supports in place, we actually have somebody to help lead the projects. So community, please look out for community updates and community information sessions on a lot of things as we kind of move out of COVID and into, I don't want to say normal because it's still not going to be normal, but move into this new post-COVID world. Let's see here. So we also, the CRT meetings are taking place across even the Anishinaabe Nation. And so we met with the union, hosted a meeting with the infrastructure staff, and Catherine Tai was there. And I asked a lot of questions around Mount Lake, family services, daycares, cultural spaces. Those are all up for discussion when we're talking about the CRT funding. So we've got a lot of planning to do as a council, but also as a community to highlight some priorities in terms of, what is a priority for capital infrastructure as it relates to our family, child, and family services. So I'm really looking, yes.
So with my regular day job hat on, there is a costing support piece that you could access through the Cognoscent project that might be able to help you sort out all the money pieces or plan pieces. So just want to plant that seed and do with it what you will.
Thank you for that. We do need to get the working group started, and also we're looking at hiring somebody to lead all these projects because we need some staff to help lead the project. Our current staff are quite busy. So please look on the lookout for some additional job postings around project management as we move into this new phase of things. So Saturday, Sunday, council had their governance training and some work plans. So we're going to be bringing this to community to go over for your comments and your discussion and engagement on council's work plans. And you're also going to get your own work, well, the community is going to get their own work plans, but we're looking to, we're going to be looking to engage community over the next few months on a comprehensive community plan, the capital plan, and a lot of other strategic initiatives that are coming on. So please be on the lookout for meeting dates. We're going to be organizing that with Lily and the staff as soon as we can get the additional staff on board. Again, I meet on a weekly basis to talk about the residential schools, and we met to discuss the community coordinator positions. And so we will be hiring the community coordinators very soon, and you'll start to see some more information outroll to communities about what is kind of going on with the residential schools and the Bring Our Children Home initiative. What I want to stress right now to students and youth and people who are in post-secondary education or college or anything like that, we are looking for youth or anyone really who's interested in research and other aspects of this work. So to kind of reach out to us. The organization that we're working with is going to set up some positions in their organization where our community members will be able to do the research and do some of the work on that end. So please, some kind of posting will go out seeking letters of interest, but I'm really hoping that some of our post-secondary students or even, well, any student really who want to take part in some of this work, there's opportunities available. And again, there's going to be lots of opportunity available as we move forward with the residential school projects. So please be on the lookout for that as that goes. Council, stop me at any time if you have any questions. We had a meeting on child welfare, and on Wednesday, February 16th, I actually met with the chief of Atikameksheng. So I met to discuss the political office and governance, which I think is something that from our weekend training, it was something that was identified and that we need to have. So Atikameksheng actually has like 12 people working in their political office. And that helps support council's work and all of the political aspects of the work so that it doesn't fall on the staff to do it. There's a whole department. This is director of governance. This is, I think there's 2 EAs, like the council has an EA, the chief has an EA. There's all these CCP people sit under here. So it's really cool. And I think that's something that we need to get into to help support and push our governance forward, is these types of things. So I asked them how they funded it, and we learned more about that. And they also have an EA for the committee system. So this is actually a student that works part-time, and it's an EA for the committees, and that their whole job is to do the minutes and support council in their committee work. And I think that might be something super valuable because I know we need that support. So I'm going to be looking at what we can do with this and looking to see if we can find some funding or training dollars for this, but I'd be looking to bring somebody on board to help support even the committees to get those working, along with some of our other political advisory positions and some CCP planning, and there's some really cool opportunities. So there's more discussion coming on that. So if you have any questions about that, we could talk further. Yeah, I have lots of ideas for that. On February 16th, we met as the EDC board, of course. They inquired about the for-profit development, so I told them we're having a meeting, and we'll be planning a joint meeting with them to go over everything. And I'm hoping that we can get the transfers done, completed this fiscal year, so that Agawa can actually open underneath its proper corporation, and we can start receiving some of the not taxes, but some of the profits and things like that back into the band. So I'm hoping to finish, or we're hoping to talk more about the Agawa Corporation and completing the restructuring so that taxes and other outstanding purchasing responsibilities are shut down and kind of closed out. On February 17th, this is actually a really important thing. I met with the 3 communities. So I had a meeting with the chief of Sagamok, Mississauga, and me. Sorry. One, to discuss the video of the Every Child Matters thing, and also to catch up on political issues and just talking about stuff. So I'm hoping, and this is really good, so Serpent River has been asked to host the 3 communities gathering of Mississauga, Serpent River, and Sagamok, to take part in a ceremony to renew our agreement with each other. And I think this is going to be a really, we're supposed to review the agreement and make suggestions to approve our relationship, or does it fit, or anything like that. So March 25th, we're going to be looking to get that date for a community gathering. It's going to be a couple hours during the morning, and then kind of a lunch, and then we can all head home, hopefully at Mississauga Park, which would be really nice as to kind of stake our claim there. So I'm going to be reaching out to the park directors. Hopefully the snow is gone. Before we made this plan, I didn't realize that it's March and it's winter and the snow doesn't go away till April. So hopefully we'll have to see how much snow is out there to see if we have to plow, or we might just have it here in community and invite some of our neighbors over. But we're looking to make reviews and suggestions to improve our relationship agreement and continue to support each other in developing stronger communities. And again, we were talking about partnerships and infrastructure and other meetings to see how we can improve, things like that. So that's kind of that's been the last week on some things. Are there any questions from council in regards to my report at this time? I welcome any questions.
Yeah, one question with the regards to the board, the Agawa Crafts. Would that be the first business or entity that would come under an own source revenue?
Yeah,
I think.
Essentially, yeah, that would be one of our first-ish ones for sure.
Okay. So that's a big deal in my mind, because we can have many more of those.
Well, my report doesn't cover today and yesterday, but there's some things that happened over the past few days in terms of some housing opportunities and different things. And I think we need to look at setting up some other corporations or start those conversations. But this is going to be pretty big.
Yeah, we would discuss that at the strategic meeting there.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Shirley, Councilor McLeod.
Darien Resources, you said you met with them?
We met with Mississauga and Taylor. Sorry, I did not meet with Darien Resources. We met with Mississauga to talk about Darien Resources and to update the chief on what has been happening or what's not been happening in regards to that relationship. And so we just updated Chief Chiblo on it. But no, Darien was not there. Sorry, I misspoke. Darien was not a part of those meetings.
Because I know Darien met with us prior to.
Yep.
And we were supposed to have a community session. So I was just wondering what's been happening with Darien.
Yeah, and that's what Taylor was updating them on. We're just restarting those conversations. I think they're extending things, so we still have to engage community on the proposals and things like that, but that's still coming to community now that Taylor's on, and we can actually host those events and move it forward. I know we were sending out like information in the mail, and that wasn't very useful because some people don't check their mail very often, or they just don't get that information. So we'll be looking to host a community gathering on it, and then engaging community on what to do. I think they want to come and do another presentation to us because we're a new council, so we're just looking at coordinating some of that now.
Can you just remind the community about upcoming Sunday?
Yes, thank you. So this Sunday, the Elliott Lake Red Wings have invited us to go and watch one of their games. I think there's a bus. Unfortunately, I don't have 12:45. So there's a bus leaving here at 12:45, and community is welcome to attend. I'm really excited. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
Bring skates.
Bring skates.
Yeah, they're going to be skating prior to the game with the Red Wings.
Oh, okay.
And they're hoping that you, Chief, will drop the puck.
Okay, yeah.
And is that a commitment?
I think it's a commitment, yeah.
and there'll be pizza.
Okay, cool.
So, and hopefully pop, I don't know. It just said pizza, but.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so if community members can please reach out to Lily at the political office just for numbers so that we can to figure out the busing, I think. So please reach out to the political office or just reach out to the band office and we'll get directed. But yeah, we'll talk about numbers. I think they just want some numbers there. So if you're interested, please call the band office and we'll get it sorted there. But this Sunday at 12:45, the bus leaves here. So everyone be here for 12:30, 12 o'clock. Be here. Okay. Is there any other comments or questions in my report? Some upcoming meetings, again, today and yesterday. Today and yesterday I spent time in the Sioux doing strategic planning with Mem Wessing. That's some really exciting stuff coming out of there. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm doing the Moose Hide campaign talk tomorrow. And then we have a finance committee Tuesday, March 1st. So I'm excited for that. And I'm actually on Wednesday, March 2nd, I actually do want to highlight this because it's kind of important. There's a special chiefs meeting that's going to be happening between myself and a few of the chiefs in regards to the Huron Superior Catholic District School Board. So yeah, we're going to be meeting with the school board to go over some issues that we've been experiencing and that we want to highlight to the board of directors. So I do want to highlight that to community that we are going to be reaching out to the school board because there are some outstanding issues that with the Huron Superior School Board. So we want to engage them on those and let our needs be known, we'll say that.
I got a question. Is it issues that are long-standing, or recent?
Both. Yeah.
Just curious.
Councillor Mahal?
And that's Saturday? Your meeting is on a Saturday?
March 2nd.
March 2nd. Is
Okay.
that a Saturday?
It's a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, sorry, I thought I heard the 5th. Sorry, Chief.
No, I may have misspoke, so I was like, oh, maybe I did say something wrong. Yeah, and then also, I guess, Chiefs of Ontario are having election strategies, so as we know, there's the smell of an election in the air here in the province, so the Chiefs are organizing some election strategies to kind of get our needs on the ears of the government, so we'll be looking for that, and yeah. It's about my next week. So there's no questions. Is there anybody that would like to accept my report dated for February 22nd? Moved by Councillor Owl, seconded by Councillor Mawasagi. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, it's carried. Thank you. Now I will turn over the floor to the operations report at this time. Please give us a brief minute, community, as we set up the projector for the operations report. That's pretty cool. Right? Okay.
We don't have our laptops. We don't have our laptops.
That's okay.
Those who don't. I guess that's okay.
I think we asked for it a while ago, eh?
But
Still to be able to see it up there, yeah.
once we build the new council chambers, this will be so much easier. I actually have them with technology and things inside of it. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Tracy, for creating this presentation.
Okay, thanks everyone, and good evening. I'm Tracy Seabrook. I'm the Interim Director of Operations. I recognize that we're doing things a little bit differently. You're maybe not used to having presentations. I tend to do them this style, so I'll look forward to your feedback to see if this is working for you, if there's additional information that you require. So if you want to move to slide 3. So just to give you some follow-up from our previous meeting, I know there's been some discussions with respect to, and there was actually some reports brought back, or a timetable of reports that were outstanding. And the criticalness of these reports is that that's what drives a lot of our funding. And so we had a significant number that was outstanding. And so it's been made a priority of mine, and that work is currently underway. There's a significant shift in things already. I will tell you that what happens with when we get feedback on these reports, or when we get the report that says the reports are completed, we only get once a month. So I did ask ISK if we could have them a couple times, but this one is as of last week. So right now we have about 59.7 that they deem unattainable. And when they mean it's unattainable, it means it's been a significant period of time that they've been waiting, this report's been pending. And the reports, for folks who may not be aware, is really with respect to our funding agreements. And so we have 12.9% that are under review. So what that means is that report has been submitted, and they're in the process of reviewing that report so that they can either do a reconciliation or they can release additional funds. We have 16.1% that are actually received. So that means that it's sitting in the inbox kind of thing, waiting for them then to review it. So the next stage with those 16.1 in our next month's report, or our next report, should have shifted into, you know, the under review. And then we have 4.8% that are overdue, and that means they're due within 30 days. So it's a 30-day window. So they're not significantly overdue. It's just, you know, while we're working on the ones that are significantly overdue, they're sitting there. So we've kind of made priority based on chronologically, and also the ones that they were easy to actually get done as quickly as possible. We had the data, the information available to us to move those forward. And then we have 6.5% are ones that are due in the next 30 days. So they're actually coming up so it's kind of to, you know, if we were in great standing, we'd only be looking at that 6.5% as to, you know, this is our work in the next month that we have to do as directors and managers. So I am following up weekly on these with directors and managers now. They are all working very hard on them. I do know that this number, while we've reported this, which is exactly what I have from last week, has shifted. We should see certainly many more in the received status if we were to get that report today. So I will have a new one on March 1. At that point in time, I'll bring that information back. And if the reports are submitted, they're done correctly, they're accepted by ISK, then we should be seeing a significant change. So, you know, there are some challenges that we did encounter as we were going through this, because there are some new staff in positions, or staff that hadn't accessed these reports for a significant period of time, and as a result, they didn't have access to the system. And so it took us probably a week and a half for some individuals to be able to get access into the system. So that's why you will see certain departments, perhaps we weren't able to do those reports until they had direct access. So that, I believe, is resolved now. The only one who doesn't have access at this point in time is myself. And then I do need to get that, but we've got all of the staff that are doing most of the critical reporting up to date, and they have access again. So does anyone have any questions? Yes?
I do. Is it possible in your March 1st report to put a comparison of this one and your new one, just for us to see improvements or any changes, challenges?
Absolutely, absolutely.
When they say that, 59.7% is unattainable, does that mean we'll never get it back, or does that mean we can work on it, but?
No, ironically, actually, they allow us still to submit them. So if you look, so I'm going to get you, Tyler, to move to the next slide, please. And give you some, there's a slide.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a slide that's missing, so.
Okay.
This is the one online. The one I'm looking at is, so we don't have the version you're looking at.
Oh, okay. There's a slide missing. Yeah, so just to give people some perspective, the slide that is missing is the distribution of aged reports. And so just to give some perspective, to your question, Councillor, is that, do we have an opportunity still to submit them? So we have reports from 2016-17, 2 of them that are still outstanding, and they're allowing us still to submit on those. 2017-18, there's 2 outstanding. 2018-19, it was 8 reports. 2019-20, 12 reports. 2020-21, there were 24 reports. So that's where the majority are, is 2020-21. And then when we get into 21-22, there are 7. And most of those would, fall into that due soon category or just overdue. So I do apologize. I'm not sure why that slide isn't there.
Some of this, especially when you look at the stuff in the 2020, 2021, that is due to the federal government basically saying, don't worry about reporting, just deal with COVID, which in hindsight is a very bad thing. So that's why those ones are quite high, is due to the fact that the federal government repeatedly told everybody not to do reporting and just focus on taking care of your communities, which of course has now led us to this. But yeah.
I think Jack had his hand up after Michelle, actually.
Oh, sorry.
And then I also.
That had something to do with the pie, and I think Steve had alluded to the big red. How do we get rid of that?
Well, I do believe actually that part of that red is already gone.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate that we can't access a report to tell us how many have been completed until they send it to us, and they send it to us monthly. So I've kind of pushed that envelope, and I did get an updated one, because if I did that pie graph based on the report from February 1st, it would have looked even worse. There'd have been a lot more red. So we're actually, most departments have all of their reports in now. So we're just waiting for them to review them and make sure that, they're correct and they're accepting them.
One question with regards to the responsibilities of ISC. They put a lot on us to make sure that these reports are, it is quite a bit now. So if they don't get it, then they don't audit us. They don't come and say, hey, you're getting in an area where we think that maybe you ought to look at some changes here.
They do send us an update every month.
Yeah, they ignore?
Yeah, that's.
Well, I've seen a lot of them, but.
So they have been in contact on a regular basis. But they do give a lot of leeway before they actually.
Oh, okay. I just wondered.
We just need to, which leads me to the next slide. Sorry.
I think mine's tied to Michelle's, are we looking for the green to get bigger? Because there's always going to be reporting due, so there's never a time when the pie is gone.
Yes,
So we're looking to have it all green or as green as you can.
as
get it?
green as we can get it.
Okay.
The goal is for us only to have reports that are due within 30 days. So you should eventually get to that point where you don't have any other color but green on there.
Okay.
And once your report's done, it disappears, so there's never
So
like,
then it just gets removed from the pie.
Yeah.
It's
There's
removed
no-
until,
yeah.
yeah, so the pie looks bad, but it's just because it just has all the extra stuff. But again, I think all the departments have done a really good job of updating their reports over the last few weeks, so 2 weeks from now, it'll look much better.
so the last slide kind of leads to this next piece, and how I've tried to, because we can fix this immediately and work on it over the, as we have been over the last 3 weeks. But the dilemma that you have is as you move forward, you have to have a structure in place so this doesn't happen again. And so I have been working actually with all the directors and managers, and we have a meeting tomorrow in which we're going to be talking about work plans and how we actually kind of forecast what our work is as we move forward, so that you know well in advance when things are coming up, and you have lists of items, and council as well then has an understanding of when things are due, and if there are things delayed, and why are they delayed, and what. So there's a reporting mechanism. So it provides accountability for staff members to chief and council, but also council and the chief to staff, so that there's this continual understanding of what the workload is and how that's progressing. So we are starting to work on them. Actually, I've already developed one for myself with respect to the training and some of the work that's going to be underway over the next few months with staff, and now starting to work on much more global work plan with respect to the things that we hear about when we're having conversations here about the upcoming work. So that should help in the understanding of chief and council to know where things are at and what the targeted timelines are for things, and if things are delayed. It should never come as a surprise. You should have known well in advance. So that's the goal. So when we get to that point, we'll have an opportunity then to share some of those work plans so that you have an understanding of where work is at. So the next slide, actually, I'm going to spend a lot of time on this one because Chief has already spoken to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal order, was just to draw attention to that funding opportunity. He may not be aware yet, but I got an email today to say we did have a meeting with ISK, the coordinator for ISK on this particular file. We are actually meeting with her on an individual basis on Friday. So just Serpent River First Nations will have the opportunity to have a discussion directly with her, so we can have more intimate conversations about, how can we use this funding for us, and have those specific conversations. Next slide, Tyler. So the Finance Committee, I know part of the work that's underway right now, a significant amount of work is with the Finance Committee. They're continuing to work on the 1920 audit. The AGM is scheduled for March 10th, 2022 for the 1920 audit, and there will be notification going out with respect to that. The 2020-21 audit is anticipated to be completed in March. And so the AGM will follow after that work is completed. And then the next steps will be, they'll begin the work on the 21-22 audit. So as you can see, we're definitely behind in our audits. That's causing some difficulty for us in applying for some of the funding proposals. So many of the funding proposals actually ask for a current audit. And we can maybe go back 1 year, but going back 2, 3 years is holding up some of our proposals. And there are some proposals that are expiring February 28th that we're not going to be able to apply for because of that. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, is this is why it's so critical that these things happen and move forward. So housing and infrastructure. So this is a bit of a bring forward because we had some discussions about water issues at our last meeting that were highlighted. So we're conducting an analysis right now to understand the consumption and the rate that it's coming in. And there are some concerns with respect to that. Just so everyone is aware, we make an effort, our housing and infrastructure folks make an effort to make sure that there's at least an 80% water level at all times. So we're trucking water in to make sure that's there. And my first question was, why 80%? That seemed really high to me. But quickly they responded and said, if we had one fire here, that takes 50% of your water. So you need to make sure, we all need to make sure that that water level is at least 80%. And so these are critical issues that we need to be watching all the time. We did identify a potential water leak, which could be contributing to the issue. That was resolved. It was at the ice surface that we have. There was a slow leak that was causing a little bit of grief. And we're actually working with housing and infrastructure to establish a plan to work with the community to identify, any leaks, taps, toilets, those kinds of things. So that's some of the work that I'm doing with the Director of Housing and Infrastructure. Any questions? The next one.
Oh, really?
Sorry, Sherry.
Okay, how about the snow plowing? Like, not the snow plowing, the plowing like for the elders. Because they used to get their doorways shoveled, then they used to get where they have their tanks, they used to get that shoveled as well, so that whoever delivers the propane can, because sometimes whoever the driver, she won't go if the snow is deep. So I'm just wondering, it used to be Gecko, but I don't know where that's at, or I don't know where they can call.
My understanding that still is continuing, because I know I've had calls within the last week with respect to that. What I do want to say, though, is that, we have had some calls when we've had significant snowfall, and the first priority is really to get the roads cleared, and, so we obviously want to get the pathways and things cleared, but the initial priority was to get the roads out, so there was a slight delay in it, but my understanding is that's still occurring. So if someone has a concern, I would encourage them to contact the band office and we can work to resolve it.
Okay, we used to have 2 workers that worked for the elders that came and shoveled the doorway, because some of them also have appointments, like doctor appointments and stuff.
We still do. Like, there's still 2 workers doing that, so that's why I'm a little.
But there's some elders that still don't get that service stuff.
So maybe
Do you have to call? Because before we didn't have to call, they just automatically came and.
Well, I would suggest, Shirley, that if there's elders reaching out to you, get them to reach out to the band office and just work on that to raise the issue. Yeah, there's that.
All right, I'll just tell them, call the band office.
Yeah, please do, because
they've been calling Gecko, and Gecko tells them to call here, and sometimes they're told to call Gecko, so.
yeah, I'm not aware of people that aren't getting it done at all. I certainly was aware there were a couple of calls with respect to just a delay in it. But as far as I know, there are 2 individuals still doing that. In fact, I had conversations with them on the weekend, so I would encourage them to call.
Maybe there needs to be a clearer way to sign on to that service.
Yeah.
As we all get older, I wouldn't know where to call either. I suddenly, got to a place, so.
So just to clear things up, we're, as elders, there's people with disabilities and stuff, are supposed to sign up every year. And so if they don't sign up, that's how they get confused. And then when they call GECA, if GECA tells them to call the band office, then that person, he or she may get upset. So what should happen is that if you get the call, no matter who you are, you follow up with that.
No
So-
wrong door.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. And we can, we have another newsletter coming up, so maybe it makes sense that we put something in the newsletter as well, so it goes out to the full community.
And when is once a year, so.
Yeah.
Just to follow up on that, I've noticed there are services out in the mainstream that it's all, you have a senior issue, there's one number.
Yep.
Call for seniors.
Yep.
They don't have to worry about calling GECA or the band office, or just one number.
Absolutely.
Just a thought.
So if we can move on to animal control, we did have some concerns raised with respect to feral cats. It's
Pretty.
maybe my first time at working on animal control issues, but we are working actually with some of our partnering First Nations to find out, there isn't a current policy, well, there's a policy, but we don't have anyone to actually carry it out. To contract with. So we are working with some of our partner First Nations that are next door to try and see what they're doing. Apparently there are some effective processes in place in Sagamuk, and so we are going to have some conversations with them to see if there's some way that we can partner together, or perhaps use some of the individuals that they have to try and address this. But I wanted community to know that we are working on this, and I do see them when I'm on my way home, so I know that we need to get something done fairly quickly. So the Education Committee, I know there's been some inquiries with respect to summer student positions. We have conversations underway regarding the summer student positions to identify some potential avenues for funding. Further investigation into an issue identified that we had some previous funding issues, and it was to do with reporting with respect to the Canada Jobs Strategy. And so you may not be aware, but last year our student positions were flowed through another organization. We're trying to understand where that came from and what we need to do to rectify that so that we can move forward. But I wanted to make sure that the community and Chief and Council were aware of that. Our daycare center, we have some real staff shortages, and as you know, the daycare was closed last week, but there were actually 2 days where specific programs had to be closed because we didn't have adequate staffing. So if we know of any registered early childhood educators, we really do need to make sure that we have some backup for those. So you will see some postings going out soon with respect to that so that we can address that. Student support, we've had a request from parents on how we can better support students with additional tutoring, so we're currently looking for some funding avenues for that as well. Health is really just an update. I do have a minor update to that. Our current caseload is 6, actually. This was as of last week when the report was submitted. And we have still 0 hospitalized, and our resolved COVID-19 cases are 42. So our numbers are actually coming down. So lands and resources, North Shore Tribal Council partnership on the 911 mapping project and drone pilot training. Sorry, stumbled over that. Further updates will be coming at future meetings. The Anishinaabe Nation Lands Resources and Economic Development Forum was February 15th to the 17th, so last week. And any pertinent findings will follow in our next council meeting. And there are 5 certificates of possession which will be forthcoming soon for your review and approval. So they're currently under review and we're finalizing the details, and they've been pending for quite a while. So we want to address those as quickly as possible. And any questions?
I just want to say, I really appreciate the way you share this information. It was easy to digest and a nice overview, get the highlights, and a little more easy to follow along instead of like reading text. So thank you much for that.
I do have one question. Is there any, I'm not sure if you can answer, but is there an update regarding the emergency alert system? Like, has that started to move? We said we were.
Everbright? The Everbright system?
Everbright, thank you.
Oh, yes, we did have a meeting with respect to that.
I don't have an update.
I was just gonna say.
I don't think I was a part of that meeting.
I-
It was an emergency that day.
I do have to apologize. I think that was in my first couple of days, so there was a lot of information, but I can certainly get that for the next meeting.
But also, the same information as Councillor Commanda, it's, I really appreciated your report. It was easy to follow, and some of the highlights you touched base, like to hear about summer students right now in February, kudos to you. It's usually close to summer when we hear about some of that stuff, so very easy to understand. And one question for communications officer, does our community, when they see it, do they actually see your slideshow at the same time?
Yeah. So what we just saw was what community saw.
I like that. I'm wondering if that could be a possibility of all the reports being.
Sorry.
You can just sit around the table with us on this side, that's okay.
I'll switch to presentations also.
Well, no, I'm not saying presentation-wise, but some people are visual learners, they need to see it, and they could be missing what is being said, but they could read it and follow along on the screen.
I think we're in a process of creating the meetings that we want, and I think this is one step. I know moving to all-day meetings, like having these be more substantive is something that I think we all want to move towards. So yeah, I'm quite happy, and I'm looking forward. Also, if there's anything you want me to change with my my report, also we can look at that. I know I do want to make it.
I definitely have a few comments, but I'll wait till a little one-on-one time or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so with that, yep. Do we have a mover to accept the operations report at this time? Moved by Councillor Commanda, seconded by Councillor Mawasaki. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, it's carried. We now turn over to the Economic Development Officer for her update.
Good evening, Chief and Council. Okay, so this report covers January 2022, not 2021. So I made a mistake there. I guess I'm still not used to writing 2022. So the trading post, as you know, has been closed for the season. So planning for the new season is underway. We have been working on doing the floors in the trading post, and we're hoping to have that done by next week. So as of January 31st, 2022, our revenue for the trading post was $313,386.07. And our expenditures were $199,282.07. So that left us with a profit of $114,104. Our gas bar has been operating with no major problems in the last month. The hours of the gas bar remain the same as last month and will be revisited in March when restrictions have been lifted. Sales have remained steady. And so as of January 31st, 2022, our revenue was $3,869,276.20. And our expenditures were $3,543,905.45. So we had a profit of $325,370.75. Agawam Crafts and Canadian Carver, while there has been no change in the business as it has been closed for the season since October 31st, 2021. Preparations will begin for the 2021-2022 fiscal year in the month of March. So our finishing revenue didn't change from last month, with the exception of we did have to spend a little bit more than what we thought on snow removal, because they did get quite a bit of snow up there, and we had to have that removed from not only the road to get in, but also on the roofs. So our revenue was $2,540,368.88. Our expenditures were $2,430,932.81, and our profit for the year is $109,436.07. Under economic development, renewable energy, follow-up was made with Mr. Furman Latimer on the Smart Renewable and Electrification Pathways Program, and we'll continue to update the board of directors on any new developments as it pertains to this project. So he did send me a lot of information. So there is money available for capacity building. So I'm looking into that to see how we can build capacity within our community. Franchise opportunities. So we've been looking at different franchises over the last couple of years, and a lot of them are very expensive. I did make contact with Charlie Biggs Chicken, which is looking to expand into Ontario at present. Information is being exchanged between the EDC and the representative. The proposed location would be the gas bar, pending the availability of space required. So more information will come on into that at a later time regarding that possible franchise. A working group of the economic development personnel from the communities of Blind River, City of Elliott Lake, Mississauga First Nation, and the Serpent River First Nation EDC for reviewing any possible funding for a pre-feasibility study of a hardwood sawmill. At the present, it is only in the concept phase, and it is anticipated that the lands and economic development departments of each community will participate in this working group. And that's my my report, and I did attach the financial statement for April 1st to January 31st, 2022. And when all is said and done, as of January 31st, 2022, our net profit for the overall operation of the EDC is $167,787.34. So I'm open to questions now.
Any questions for the manager of the EDC? Okay, seeing none, can I get a member of council to please acknowledge the EDC's report? Moved by Councillor Commanda, seconded by Councillor McLeod. Sorry, Jack. And are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, it's carried. Miigwech Wilma, thank you for your update.
Thank you.
We have no DOTM and committee meeting minutes and reports. However, please check your mail community, as I believe the recruitment poster went out. We will also repost it on the Facebook page and website just for your re-information, but we're officially, I think, looking out for some community members. So please reach out to either Lily or the councillor of the portfolio and let them know that you'd like to join, and we're going to get those started really soon. I'm excited. And again, there's no business arising from minutes and reports. Okay, so the standing item, state of emergency declaration. So I do have a small update on that. So the ECOG, we did meet about 2 weeks ago to discuss the state of emergency. It was discussed, and kind of with the province reopening and everything going the way it is, we did talk about extending it 1 more month, but only because there are a lot of bylaws and a lot of rules and a lot of things tied up into the emergency operations report, and the the state of emergency declaration. So what I wanted to do is I want to sit down with the ECOG for like a day almost and go through all our bylaws, all our policies, everything that we've implemented using the state of emergency declaration, which is the trespassing bylaw. Like there's a lot of stuff all tied up into it, including the ability of ECOG to meet and do all these things. And so we want to, I think, move into the next phase of our community's response to COVID-19, and that part of that is letting the state of emergency declaration fall away, but ensuring that we still have what we need to do as cases are still out there. It's still, the virus is still very real, but again, we are modifying and changing to accommodate these things. So with that, the suggestion is to extend the state of emergency one more month, which would take us to March 26th. And this fits in also with us always being a little bit behind the province to do a wait and see approach, because we just know sometimes things are made for political reasons and not science. So this would just give us till March 26th. At that time, I do believe the ECOG is going to do a report basically on the state of the pandemic response since it started in March almost 2-3 years ago now. So that is just a small update on that, but I am seeking an extension of the state of emergency declaration for one more month to give us time to wind it down and or wait and see what's happening across the province. But what I will do is I will open it up also for all of council to make comments. And if you don't have a comment, you can say no comment and pass, but I do want to have a little bit of a discussion on this item at this time. So we will start, we'll start going this to my left. And I open the floor to Councillor Convened.
Okay, thanks for that. I agree, that's a good idea. And I look forward to the report or the recommendations about how to smoothly transition out. So that makes sense.
Which I too say that is a prudent idea to extend that to March, just to tie up some loose ends. You know, that we had laws that were out there, but be interesting to see if there was any breaches to that, and if there's what our response was, and to look forward, because this might happen again, so we could plan something, event of another catastrophe. Bewitched.
I just want to say thank you too for sending it, because you need to put all your you need to get all your reports together, so you'll have them. Bewitched.
I'm also in agreement with extending the order, especially considering that the First Nation population was considered at one of the higher risk. And like you had mentioned, right, we want to see how it's going before it could be a political thing, but considering what our population is, we still have babies 0 to 5 years old that have not been vaccinated, so we really need to be mindful as a First Nation about that group also.
I just want to say that I've been looking forward to this for 2 years now, but I also want to keep reminding community and stuff that we still have people that are infected or close contact, and that we need to be mindful of that and keep working it up. So good work, everybody in the community that did their part and got vaccinated and did all the right things, distancing and all that. So I think we did a good job. So community, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, so just some final comments. I am looking forward to like, again, winding it down, but recognizing that just because we're getting rid of the state of emergency community doesn't mean that the pandemic is over. It just means we're changing to more of acknowledging the realities of our situation. Huge portions of our community are triple vaccinated, which is great. And you know, we are seeing some improvements. So with that, I do want to also thank Councillor Owl for raising that point. When we do have a lot of children that are 0 to 5 or even 5 to 12 that have not been vaccinated yet. And we do know that the recent spike wave that came through community had some of it attributed to schools and different things like that. So it is still out there, it is traveling amongst our children, which is concerning. But thankfully no one is in the hospital and we haven't had any adverse reactions at this time. So I do want to put that out there, that just because we're talking about easing the state of emergency here does not mean that the pandemic is over. And we will be continuing to monitor the situations to make modifications and ensure that we are continuing to look out for the health and well-being of all community members. That's our role. So thank you everybody for your comments. With that, I'll open it up to, is there a mover to extend the state of emergency declaration until March 26th? Moved by Councillor Stephen Wasagi, seconded by Councillor Jack Trudeau, Miigwech. Are there any opposed at this time? Are there any abstentions? Seeing none, it is carried, and we will remain in a state of emergency until March 26th, at which time, actually, I will give you another date because the council meeting for March 26th, that's a Saturday. So we'll be looking at, you will actually receive a report either on the March 22nd or the following 5th. So we'll work with ECOG on that, and you'll either receive a report early before the end or after, but maybe earlier is better actually. So we'll hopefully get a report to you for the March 22nd council meeting, and we'll aim for that date as a report so that council can make an informed decision on extending it at that time or ending it. So thank you everybody. I will set that for commitment for March 22nd. I will forget much. So with that, that ends today's business. We do have some in-camera items to discuss. So with that, community, I thank you for joining us tonight, and I look forward to improving our council meetings moving forward. Also welcoming you back into our council meetings and setting aside some specific community-focused meetings. So please be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited for a lot of the changes and things that are coming, and just thank you for all of your hard work over this pandemic and the continued hard work moving forward. Looking forward to it. So with that, our next duly convened Chief and Council meeting is March 8th, and that is a Tuesday. So we will see everyone March 8th. How can I get a mover to move us into in camera at this time? Wait, actually, yeah, no, goodbye. We'll end the meeting and then we'll adjourn the meeting and go into in camera. Awesome.
Is it a long in camera?
We will be taking a 3-minute break.
Perfect.
Yes.
Just because somebody